Thank you, Craig. Obviously, we're getting ready to play a very talented, long, athletic, and confident Georgia ball club here tomorrow night. They've had a heck of a run. I think they are. They got started here at our place early in the year, and we know what kind of challenge it's going to be for us to go down there and get a win.
Our first question is from Steve Wallentik of the Columbia Tribune.
Frank.
Hey, Steve, how you doing?
Good. You've been asked a couple times in the last couple weeks about paying attention to bracket projections and things like that, and have been adamant that you try to stay away from that. Your players, Jabari and Jordan, admitted after the game that talk obviously does enter the locker room. How do you make sure that it doesn't become a distraction in the home stretch?
Well, obviously, I think it's hard for those guys watching games and not see what people say about them, and we just got to continue to preach what we do and stay in the moment and attack each game, and we want to play as hard as we can play each time out, and that's the first and foremost, is going out there and competing and giving everything we got on that basketball court, and that's what we got to focus on, and I think that's, as a coaching staff, that's what we got to continue to encourage with our players.
And where has Georgia gotten better over the course of since you saw them the last time?
Well, their numbers are still what they've done when we were playing them, and they're still the same, and that's who they are. They're a really good rebounding team on both ends of the court. They get to the free throw line 30 times a game, and they have their length that they bother you on the defensive end. They're the number one field goal percentage defensive team in our league. So it's because of their length and how well they play defensively. And the one thing I think they have done a little bit better, obviously, is that Gaines he's made 13 threes in their last couple of ball games. So he's become a shooter for them on the perimeter.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Next up is Todd Lebo of Sports Radio 810.
Hey, Coach. Alabama was shooting 44% on the year and then shot 57% against you guys on Saturday. Can you talk about what went wrong defensively and how you guys can work on that?
Well, we didn't do a good job defensively. We were really, really poor defensively in the ball game, and they had way too many open looks. And but with that said, the kid Randolph had a career game too, and but our perimeter defense and low post defense and total defensive effort was not good, and we've got to get better. All day yesterday, that's what we practiced on, and hopefully we'll have a better effort on that end of the court here on Tuesday. That was really disappointing how we defended in that ball game, and you can't win on the road, particularly if you don't play defense.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next is Bob Holt of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette.
Hey, Coach, how you doing today?
I'm good, Bob. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, you guys are part of this 7-way tie for fourth in the SEC. Just wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Well, somebody's got to win some games here in the next 2 weeks to separate yourself. There's 2 weeks left to go in the season, regular season, and also it tells you about the parity in our league and how hard it is to win on the road. I think that's been pretty typical throughout everybody. Has had trouble winning on the road, other than Kentucky and Florida. So it's pretty evident. You're looking at a lot of teams being 7-7 right now. So, but somebody's got got a chance here at the last 2 weeks to probably get some separation, and hopefully somebody's going to be in that that fourth spot. And right now, it's a bunch of people fighting for it.
Have you ever seen anything like that in any league?
Not to my recollection here, but I mean, we've got a lot of parity, and I think it is true, and that teams in our league has really struggled winning on the road, and that has caused for the kind of all the numbers being the same there in the middle of the pack.
Next up is Mark Weiser of the Athens Banner-Herald. Mark, there. Okay, we'll move ahead with Dave Matter of St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
With the effort, the guys were still fighting. How much of that was missing at Alabama, and if so, is that pretty disappointing to you?
I didn't hear the first part of your question. Sorry.
In most of your losses this year, you know, your guys were still fighting. You seemed pretty happy with the effort in games like LSU and Florida. Was that missing at Alabama the other night?
Yeah, we didn't. You know, it was disappointing. We didn't have the competitive spirit you needed to have, and that was. We practiced well, and we were prepared, and it was really just we didn't compete on the defensive end, and that was really disappointing.
Is Mark Weiser of the Athens Banner-Herald?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'll try this again. You mentioned Kenny Gaines. You know, what have you noticed of him in terms of how his game may have developed since you saw him start of SEC play, and what difference do you think he's meant for Georgia?
Well, he's given him a perimeter threat along with Jurcic, and I think he's playing with a lot more confidence than early in the year, and obviously he's on a roll right now. We got to do a great job on him and finding him and making sure, you know, after coming off 27 points his last outing, he's in a really good place right now, looking real comfortable out there on the basketball court. So we got to do a tremendous job on him, and as I said, do our work early and make sure he's got constant attention on the defensive end.